Yo, what's up guys? Today I'll be showing you how to make the ring farm mechanic from the game Build a Ring Farm. So behind me I built a simple setup and we'll show you guys how it works. So firstly you go and buy a plot. I'll just buy 2 of them right here. And so I have a carrot seed which I'll place here, and then a beet seed right here. And as you can see, as the water drips over it, then you'll see it starts to grow. It goes full growth. And then the saw cuts it and gets added to this food collector here, and basically it just loops around the whole time, where you can go right here, you collect the food, and then you eventually sell it. As always, I will have the scripts in the description so you don't have to write anything, so let's get started. So to get started, I won't be making an exact replica of the ring farm because you need to use mesh parts to create it from Blender, which will take a pretty long time, but I will use a wedge piece. And this is just for simplicity, and basically you could just easily make a circular shape like this for the ring farm to go around. But you can use, if you wanted to use a block part, then go ahead, it will still work, you just need to name it correctly. But literally any shape would work. So with this wedge piece, firstly, I will rename it to P1. And then click this plus icon to add a string value. Rename this string value to owner. So basically, the only person that can place seeds on this plot is the person that buys the plot itself. Additionally, we will click plus to add a highlight. And then firstly, we will get rid of this fill transparency thing and just leave this white outline. But again, go to enable and false. So basically what will happen is that when a player sees that the plot's available, it will basically glow like in the game where you can click on it and buy the plot. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate these 4 times to make that circle. So we'll have 4 plots for the player to be able to buy. The only thing we have to do is just rename it to P2, P3, and P4. Then what we're going to do is in workspace, go to folder and create a folder called plot1. And then inside the plot1, you're going to create another folder and you will call this farmPlots. Then with all the farm plots that you made, you will select all of them, click on the left side right here, and drag all 4 into farm plots. And I forgot to mention, I created this in a horizontal line first. It's because it'll be easier to test when there's water flowing and the seeds are growing, because if you first build it in this shape and try testing it, you'll have a really hard time with everything. So just have this in a straight line to test it easily. Now what we're going to do is we need to create scripts for the player to buy them and own these plots to be able to place seeds on it. But first we're going to create that pop-up to basically let player to buy it. So go to StarterGui and click Screen GUI. We're going to rename this Screen GUI to BuyLandGui. Then click the plus icon again, click frame, and rename it to, we'll just rename it to buy. And for the position, I'm just going to put it right in the middle. That's directly into the middle. We'll just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and then inside buy, we will create a text button, which is be the buy button. So that's what you name it. Click or rename this to buy button. And then we will put this at the bottom here. Additionally, again, click text label and rename this to BuyLand1. This will just like prompt the user to tell it like if you want to buy this piece of land or whatever. But basically, we're just going to name this, or we're going to put text inside and just call it buy. And the text label right here, we'll just label it nothing for now. Right. And we're just going to make this look a little bit better. I did not want to spend too much time on this for obvious reasons, so I'm not going to go all the way in. But we will at least add nice colors to the background. There. I think that should be good enough. So what we're going to do is on this BuyLandGui, we're going to enable it false. And that should be it for this part. Now, when you're done creating the GUI, now we can start placing the scripts to make it all work. Again, all these scripts are in the description, but if you want to write it down, then I'll just have the screen open so you can pause it for a little. So we're going to go to StarterPlayerScripts and create a local script. We will rename this local script to plotClient, and I'll just simply copy and paste the plotClient that I have. Oops. Yep, and this is it. Again, if it will be in the description, and I'll just scroll down so you guys can copy it if you want to write it by yourself. Perfect. Now we will also go to replicated storage and click remote event. Then you will rename this remote event to buyPlots event. Again, click replicated storage, click module script, and then you will rename this module script to plot ownership. Right here, I'm going to copy paste this. There. This is the plot ownership that you'll need. I'll just have it there for a little for you to pause. And then we can now go to the server script service and add a script called leader stats. I'll give you right here. So this script, you do need it as it has the plot ownership and will identify the plot ownership to the replicated storage event. But also, if you guys really do not want money or food, you can just delete it right away. But I just have the food and money just so it's easier to keep track of. So if you copy pasted all these scripts or wrote them yourself, you should click play and just see if it works. To tell if it works, you should be able to see this highlight right here like I do. And then when you click on it, you should be able to get that pop-up and click buy. If you do that, then the player will officially own the plots. You should be able to do this to every single plot that you have. And if you do have it, then you're good to go to the next step. And if you don't, then it's either a problem with the copy paste script. You probably didn't copy paste everything, something renamed incorrectly, and that should probably be it. So you should go to server script service, click the plus sign, click script, and name this plant script. You will then use this specific script I have right here. For this next part, we will actually be creating the plants. And as you can see, I have created a carrot plant and then a beetroot plant. Notice that there's 3 stages, and that's because this is how the game's gonna work, starting from a seed, going to the second stage, and then the third stage. So when you're making your plants, make them 3 stages. I actually recommend you doing exactly what I do. Create a carrot part, and then a beetroot part as well, and then just create the models for them right here. Make sure there's 3 of them. This part right here will be used as a seed, which will be placed right here and be used as what the player will hold. So just make sure to just copy what I have. The names I have is, for this, the carrot is just called a carrot and it's a part. The second stage is called C2, which is caret 2. And then the third stage of the caret is called C3. The same for the beetroot. I just have this seed, which would be a part called beetroot. The second part is R2, which is the second stage of the beetroot. The third is R3, which is the third stage. Another important thing is for your models, you need to set the primary part to the bottom part of this plant. So when you click on C2, you go on primary, you notice that it's high, which is this part right here. You have to set the primary part to this bottom. Set it to the bottom, as that's how the plant will spawn. It will spawn directly on top of this, which will put the position correctly. This is the same for C3. My primary part is this thing called S, which is this bottom part of the plant. Everything is the same for here as well. And I'll just make sure that you make 2 of these, make the beetroot and carrot, because it'll be easier to show you how it works. What we're gonna do is we're going to go here and we're gonna duplicate this carrot, and then you're gonna name this carrot handle. Now what we're gonna do is in workspace, you're gonna go here to the plus sign, click tool. You're gonna rename this to carrot seed. Now the handle that you made, you will place it in carrot seed. Then you will create a local script inside. Call it seed placement. This is what will be pasted into seed placement. So I'll just pause for a little if you guys want to take it from description. Now what we're gonna do is in carrot seed, or actually when you go to your handle, make sure that the anchor is turned off, because that'll make your player stuck when it's encrypting it. But now what we do is click carrot seed, we duplicate it, and then we switch carrot seed and to beet seed. So now we have 2, we have a carrot and beet seed, and the script is the same. Handle should be the same as well. So with these new carrot and beet seeds, we're going to place these in your starter pack for the character to hold. Now we go to replicated storage, we click remote event, and then we name exactly what's on this the seed placement script we have. So for carrot seed, we have plant seed event. We will copy this, paste into here, plant seed event. Again, remote event, since we also have a plant beet event right here. Rename, and then place this into here. And before we start, I forgot to mention that we will be putting everything, all the plants we put in the replicated storage. So you can see I highlighted carrot, C2, C3, beetroot, R2, R3. Then we will move this to replicated storage. Now we can start the test run, and you should have your beet seed and carrot seed in your inventory. If you notice that when you equip this, your player is stuck or teleports in a weird location, that's because your anchor is turned on and you need to turn it off. So now this should work. Your player should be able to buy a plot and and you should see a seed placed on here. This should work for every single one of these. So all 4 of these plots are bought, and I have a carrot seed right here, boom. I have a beet seed, boom, placed, and then carrot seed, boom. Now you should be ready for the watering and cutting part of this. What we're going to do now is create the pillars and then basically everything else needed for the watering and cutting parts. So what we're going to do first is insert a part, and I'm going to call this part, I'll call this part water thing, and I'll give it a specific size because I want a nice size like that. So I did 175, 113.5, and what we're actually going to do is duplicate the water thing, and then we're going to rename the water thing to be called detector. The detector size would be a bit bigger of 18.4, 25.8, and 13.1. So it should look something like this. And with this detector, what we're gonna do is turn off can collide. And then we're going to make it less transparent, .5. And I'm just gonna make this color green. So this detector thing right here is what's gonna be touching the plots to make sure the crops grow. What we're gonna do is we're gonna select the detector and the water thing. We're gonna group it as a model, and we're gonna call it water boy. We're then gonna place this water boy inside plot 1. Now what we need is, basically when you're making a ring farm, you need a pillar to basically let this water boy to let it circle around. So we're just gonna make that real quick. We're just gonna make a simple little box. Doesn't really matter. I think that should do it. I'm just gonna anchor it just in case. And we're going to rename this pillar. I should make it a little bit bigger. You also put this pillar inside plot 1. And I'm just gonna move this pillar here, and then whatever your plot is, whatever the lands you have, just try making a circle around it, or if you don't have a circle, just try making one to your best ability. I'm just gonna freehand it right now. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to move the water boy, the model, right here, like right next to the pillar. It basically, how it's gonna move, it's just gonna turn around like this way, clockwise. So I'm just making sure that it just gets both the plots. Now with that, you're gonna go to ServerScript service. You're gonna insert a new script called watering script. And then you're going to insert this full script right here. I'll just take a break if anyone needs to pause the video for writing this down. And when you click play, you should be able to see its, oops, I forgot to anchor some parts. Okay, so we're going to anchor the water boy. Now when you click play, you should be able to see it spinning this way. And to test it, you're basically just gonna put all your plants onto here, each plot. And as you can see, they're growing. They're reaching their full growth with the grass thing on top of it. And that should be it for the watering part. If you notice that your plants are spawning above or below, it's something wrong with your primary part. And just again, make sure you set your primary part of the plant for stage 2 or 3 to the bottom bit of it, to the lowest part, because that's how the raycast is formed. So what we're going to do now is use the cutting script to basically get rid of the plants. And what you can do is actually just duplicate the water boy. I'll move this to the right a bit, and then call this water boy cut boy. And this is optional. The only change I'm making is I'm going to make the detector red so it's easier for you guys to see that it's being cut. Now you're going to go to ServerScript service, create another new script, and name it cutting script. This will be the script used for it. Just going to remind you guys, it's in the description as well. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the speed. It's currently at negative, but I'm going to change it to a positive, so they go on different slides, which you'll see in a bit. So yeah, you could see the red is on a different side and the green's on a different side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant right here and plant right here, making sure that it gets grown and deleted. So you can see we have growth right here, and then this detector, the cut boy, deletes it. Now we're just going to make sure it goes in a loop, so we're going to see it get cut again. And yeah, that's basically it. to obviously make it better is what you can do is the water thing, you need to make it a bit smaller. I just had it big because to show you guys for the video, but you just center it to the pillar of however you made it, and then it should work as smooth as it could be. Oops. So I did notice that. Okay, let me make this a bit bigger. Yep, so you could see that it's centered to the pillar now. I just had to make it bigger. And if you're experiencing anything else, then it could be something with the angle and speed, which you can adjust, or you can simply just ask, you can copy and paste the script and ask AI why it's turning a different way. And finally, here's the collector thing. I just used the random, just made this random cube. Here's the collector script for it. It's pretty bad. Anyone could write a better one, but I just did this for time's sake. Basically, what's gonna do is just it accesses the scripts before of the cutting one, and every time it cuts, it adds the food to it, which you can collect right here. So I'll just do this again. And then, yep, the food gets collected here. Now additionally, so what I had in here, basically anyone could make this. Cause this part, it looks ugly here, but anyone could make this. I just had more time here. But what I used is, I used something called the water droplet on Toolbox. That's basically what I used for the water dropping out of it. I basically used the water thing and duplicated it to make little small pieces right here to make it seem like there's water falling out of it. And obviously I just got the saw from the toolbox. You guys can make whatever you want. I just put these borders around as well just to make it look better, but as long as it works, it's all good. And finally, with everything done, I just created like a checklist to make sure everything's good for you guys and it's working. Basically, this is what you should have in every single one of your things. This is what's in your workspace. You should have a plot1 folder with all these stuff in it. Your replicated storage should contain every single model and event here, especially with the parts. Server script surface, you should have 4 server scripts. Your starter GUI, that's basically just what we did in the beginning. Starter pack, you should have your seed and carrot tools. And then your starter script should have the PlotClient. And the collector script that I have, I placed it into the actual cube right here. So it's in plot1 and it's inside the collector part.